process of coming out, being a judge?
I took me a long time to come out. I had come out to my friends and family a long time ago. And I really got tired at work of sort of putting up a wall between my personal life and my work life. And if I would do something gay related over the weekend, you know, go to Pride or do something like that, or even if I just had a bad date and I just sort of fun to share it with them, I just put a wall up and wouldn't tell them. And it just got to the point where I thought, this is ridiculous. There were already a number of openly gay judges, but they were all women, and I didn't know how people would react to a gay male judge, especially other male judges. I wasn't sure how they would react. So I had lunch with a lesbian judge who just said, just tell a few people and it'll get around, and after a short time it'll blow over. And that's exactly what happened. I sent some emails out to my colleagues. I told some attorney friends and said, spread the word. And within a day, I was just flooded with emails. All of them were positive, saying, it's great, congratulations, we're glad that you were able to share that with us. And within about a week or two, it just all died down. And everybody knows and nobody cares except my clerk, who's now, she was my secretary in the district attorney's office, but she retired. If she ever saw somebody, an attorney that she thought was my taste, that I liked anywhere on the entire 8th floor where I was, she would come and tell me, hey, there's a cute guy that's your type's on the floor, go take a look. So, which I thought was pretty funny.
That is funny. So now I imagine San Mateo is quite a liberal court. By the way, San Mateo is about 20 minutes south of San Francisco.
Well, yeah, it borders it. I mean, to get to the Castro, to the city of San Mateo, which is about halfway through San Mateo County, is maybe 20, 30 minutes away.
So now what about judges outside of California? Do you think they might have a little bit more difficult experience in coming out as a gay judge?
I think it would depend on the state and the locality. I mean, I think in California, there are some counties that are conservative where it would be more difficult to come out. Obviously, being in the Bay Area, it's much more easy. And similarly, I think there are certain states that are more conservative that would be much more difficult to come out, I think, as a judge. But I regret that I waited so long in coming out because it took a lot of energy to keep that wall up.
So back to the question of Mr. Right. What is Mr. Right for you?
Somebody who is interested in a serious long-term relationship with monogamy is really big for me. That's not always easy to find. And so that's probably the most important part. And since I'm in my 40s, somebody who's 30s or 40s, mostly.
So going out with a judge, do they have to call you Honor, Your Honor?
No. Just call me John.
So you're here, so don't be intimidated. By the way, if you have any question for John, John is actually a member of SFJM. Would it be okay if I share your...
Yeah, if anybody wants to write with questions or wants to get to know me better, my screen name is SFJON, the number 4, GAM. So SF John 4, the number 4, GAM, and John is JON. There's no H, short for Jonathan.
Oh, this is so great. So John, let's talk a little bit some more about your experience and anything that you want to talk about. Many of my viewers the most common question that they have is, how do they be a better juror if they were selected?
Well, really just... I love the jury system. I think that jurors really try their very, very best to do the right thing, and they work very, very hard at it. And some trials are very, very difficult, especially the long ones, and the most difficult are probably the child molest and the rape trials. It's extraordinarily hard to get a jury because so many people just say they can't be fair or have had experiences in their family where they just can't be fair. So the thing is to just to pay attention as best you can, and then during deliberations listen to what the other jurors have to say, because they may have seen something that you missed. And I've given up trying to predict what juries are going to do. It's kind of always you wonder and you think they might go one way and they go the other, but they really try, and I'm just so impressed with the system. We're very lucky because America is one of the very few countries in the world that has the jury system, and I think it's a great system.
So you mentioned earlier, it actually is very slow, the court session.
Yes.
What if somebody need to go to a bathroom? Do they raise their hand or do they say, Judge, can I?
That happens rarely, but we take recesses in the morning and afternoon. The court session is normally 9 to noon, 1:30 to 4:30, and we take a 20-minute break in between, halfway through the morning and halfway through the afternoon. So most people can wait. That's not a big problem, but I have had once in a while someone will raise their hand.
I see.
And stuff.
Now what about sometimes, the technical presentation could last for hours. Does people fall asleep?
You do see that once in a while. It's pretty rare, but my clerk might point out to me that juror number 5, or for example, might be nodding off, although some people, they listen better with their eyes closed, so you don't know for sure. So if that happens, I'll alert the lawyers and ask the lawyers if they want to call in the jurors separately and ask, were they falling asleep or were they just listening carefully? So I had a 2-month-long gang rape case where a nun was on the jury, and she had her eyes closed much of the time, and we asked her about that, and she says that was the way that she listened and paid attention the best, and it was clear she was paying very, very close attention. So she definitely wasn't falling asleep.
Okay, so closing your eyes is okay, but snoring is
definitely not good.
Okay.
Right, definitely not good. I don't think I've had anybody snore yet, though.
Jon, what are the interesting cases that you enjoy preside over?
I've had a lot of interesting cases, especially in the last few years, where I went to Redwood City and had a lot of felony cases. My most interesting case was a murder case, my first murder trial that I had, and involving a shooting on Highway 101 in Redwood City, and I can't talk about the details because the defendant has not been sentenced yet, so it's still pending, but it was very challenging. It was a trial that lasted about 7 weeks. The attorneys were excellent, and it was challenging in that one of the lawyers for one of the 2 defendants filed a lot of briefs where I had to make decisions on it. He filed over 50 of them, and so it was very challenging, but definitely the most interesting case that I've had. One of the things that happened was a few years ago I did have a rape case, which is over now, so I can talk a little bit about it, involving 4 young men who picked up a woman hitchhiking and took her to Half Moon Bay and gang raped her, and it took about 2 months to try, and it was very difficult to listen and watch the type of testimony when the victim testified. And after that case took place, I started to get a bunch of rape and child molest and sexual assault cases, including one with a 4-year-old victim. And those are hard, and those get to you because we're human beings, and those are the type of cases that if they come across my desk and I get assigned one, it's not a happy day. So, but everybody has to do them.
Right, and I can totally imagine, because you mentioned being a judge at times could be very isolated because you cannot really talk to your friends about the case.
The only people you can talk to about the case are other judges.
I see.
And you can get advice, and that's one of the reasons why I like to talk to other judges and be around other judges during the day.
But they probably have many cases they want to talk to you about too.
Well, it works both ways, but sometimes they have there's a big case that they're working on, or I had one judge who's a friend of mine who had a case where the lawyers were just constantly fighting each other, and it was driving her crazy, and so she would just about every day at the end of trial come into my chambers and just say, I can't stand it anymore. And it was actually rather funny, but she used me to sort of blow off some steam. So, because she was a human being and it was driving her nuts.